Hello and warm welcome to all. In this episode, we are traveling from Bangalore to Manchester, and on the way, we are transiting for 17 hours in Abu Dhabi. So, we have such a long layover in Abu Dhabi, so why not grab this chance and explore the city of Abu Dhabi? So, stay tuned and watch for my virtual tour through Abu Dhabi. So today I'm traveling with Etihad Airways, and we can see the coastline of Abu Dhabi now. After traveling for 4.5 hours, the flight was pretty comfortable. You can see some of the important landmarks of Abu Dhabi as we land into the airport. So the immigration process was pretty straightforward. No questions asked. I didn't have to talk to anyone as well. Just scan your passport and the gates will open. If you have a valid visa, that is. And since I was traveling with Etihad Airways and I had such a long layover, so it was quite easy for me. So the first stop for me is the Jubel National Park, Marine National Park, so which is around 26 kilometers from the airport. I can see the mangroves here. So it's best to visit this place during the high tides when you can still see some water here. It's crystal clear. You can see all the mangroves beneath that. So if you come during the low tides, it will be completely dry. So there are some patches here which are still dry now. I'll just show it to you as we walk. It's around the walk is around 2 kilometers to 4 kilometers, depending on the circuit which you take. So as you can see the comparison between the dry patch and the waters here during the high tide, how crystal clear water flows down here and how pretty the mangroves look. There are some activities as well like kayaking and boating as well in the evenings, but in the mornings it's pretty much calm and we won't see too many visitors as well at this time. So we are pretty much towards the end of our walk. It was around 2 kilometers of the longer route. There are a couple of shorter routes also. I think one is less than a kilometer and other one is 1.5 kilometers. So the last 2 kilometers is worth it. So it's beautiful, and luckily I came during the high tide. I checked the calendar, so the high tide was at around 8:40 and I was here by that time. The only challenge is there is some construction going on the road and we have to take a long detour and come. So if you are taking a taxi, then be prepared to shell out some extra money. uh, yes, otherwise very good place. So we are heading towards our next destination, which is the Baps Hindu Mandir, which is the first Hindu temple of this scale being opened in Abu Dhabi, and was inaugurated on the 14th of February by Sri Narendra Modi ji. So it's a free entry, and at the entrance itself, the temple has a majestic look. It resembles somewhat the Dwarkadhish temple in Gujarat. There were quite a few people on this day, and it has beautiful carvings all around its walls. Photography is not allowed inside the temple, but outside we can do photography and videography. There is a small pond which is looking absolutely stunning. So magnificent temple. This has been constructed using materials brought from so many countries including India. As soon as you enter the temple, you'll see Shiva Parvati, then Lord Jagannath, and then Radha Krishna, Ram Sita. So all these, so it's amazing. So next we are heading towards the city center. We can see the pineapple building on the left side. It's called the pineapple building because it looks like a pineapple. So we are heading towards the hop on hop off bus, which starts from Abu Dhabi Mall. So let's see how many places we are able to cover. There are two routes. One basically takes you through the city center, and the other one takes you to the Grand Mosque, so which is absolutely stunning, which we will cover anyway towards the end of the day. The tortoise building, which you can see in the middle of the sea, is the Lower Museum in Abu Dhabi, which I'm going to skip at the moment. And there's still some construction work going on, and there's another museum which is going to come up in this area. So this is a Lower Museum which we are crossing now. Absolutely stunning views. Look at the turquoise color of the waters here. So on the right side we can see the Cornish beach, and we have the cycling track as well alongside. So this is one of the most popular beaches here in Abu Dhabi, and here is what I'm going to step down from the bus. Well, the Cornish beach turns out to be a disappointment. So the beach is mainly closed here because the water is not too good. It looks clean, but it's not good, it seems. So only a far 360-degree view is possible here. So, not wasting much time, in the interest of time, I took a cab down to the other end of the beach to visit the Heritage Center, which shows the artifacts which were found in Abu Dhabi and the lifestyle of the people who lived there before getting modernized. So even here we can see the other side of the Cornish beach, and to be honest, this is more prettier than the one which we saw earlier. Still see the high-rise buildings and the skyline from here, and also look at the clean turquoise waters. Absolutely beautiful. So after visiting the heritage village, we are on board the hop on hop off bus again, and good to be on the top deck of the bus, upper deck of the bus, and we are heading towards our next destination. But before that, we'll soak into some of the views of the city. So as we cross the Founders Memorial, we are heading towards the Presidential Palace, which is a grand palace here in Abu Dhabi, and this is where I am gonna get down. So from the entrance gate to the palace ticketing counter itself, I think is a kilometer and a half, and this is where we can buy the tickets. But I had bought the tickets while getting onto the hop on hop off bus, so I need not spend any time here. So after we cross the ticket counter, we are on board an AC bus which will take us to the palace entrance. So overlooking the plush gardens is the Qasr Al Watan, which is the presidential palace here in Abu Dhabi, built in lavish style. The palace's facade is adorned with intricate carvings and geometric patterns, reflecting the artistry and craftsmanship of the region. There is the Great Hall with its colossal dome and opulent decor, and the Presidential Banquet Hall, which can host up to 300 guests for state functions. The Qasr Al Watan is not just a palace but also a cultural landmark. It houses a vast collection of artifacts, manuscripts, and books, offering a glimpse into the rich history and heritage of the UAE. So, after the presidential palace, we are crossing through one of the tallest buildings of Abu Dhabi, which has an observation deck as well. But for now, I'm skipping that and heading towards our next destination, which will be Qasr Al Hosn Fort. Apologies if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. So here we are at the Qasr Al Hassan Fort, which was a watchtower originally, and it used to guard the only freshwater well on the Abu Dhabi island. Over the centuries, it evolved into a fort and then into a royal palace. So So there is a museum inside the fort walls which highlights the Emirates' history, and visitors can explore its traditional rooms and courtyards which have witnessed pivotal moments in the region's past. Towards the end of the fort visit, we can visit the ancient coffee
These
brewing
now removing
technique
the
here
burnt beans that may
in Abu
affect the
Dhabi,
taste and quality of القهوة.
and how coffee is brewed from
Now
the
he will
coffee
be using the
beans and all
منحاس
the
and
way
رش.
it reaches the end customers and is served in a cup. So after visiting the fort, I had a quick lunch near the fort area and I'm heading towards the Grand Mosque. So welcome to the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque, an iconic symbol of peace and unity in Abu Dhabi and one of the most largest and most beautiful mosques in the world. So that's how we concluded our Abu Dhabi trip and our 17 hours layover at the Abu Dhabi airport. And for now, it's goodbye to Abu Dhabi until we meet next time as we head towards Manchester, which is around 7.5 hours of flight from here and should reach Manchester at around 7 o'clock the next morning. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.